Hello my friends, my name is Max and today we're celebrating a milestone of this channel. It has been 3,000 of you guys who have subscribed. Thank you very much. And today we're gonna open something very special that has been sitting on my shelf for quite a while by now. This is a really fancy box of Space Marines. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this kind of apocalypse style packaging, this is a box from an expansion for Warhammer 40k. It was called Apocalypse. There was 3 iterations, 3 different editions of this Apocalypse. And this Apocalypse was all about large-scale battles. Think 3, 4, 5 plus thousand points. You could field whole companies of Space Marines, Titans, super heavies, really huge armies. It was all about warfare on a planetary scale. The first edition of Apocalypse appeared in 2007, during the 4th edition of Warhammer 40k. It was expanding 40k with the rules for devastating weapons and mega battles. The second edition followed during the 6th edition of Warhammer 40k, it was year 2013, and it was refining the mechanics introduced in the first edition. And this box comes from the 3rd edition, it was released in 2019. During the 8th edition, and that is why we see primaries. Primaries have been introduced just 2 years prior to this box. And if we switch the sides, we can see that it says Games Workshop Limited 2019 here. This is a box from 2019. So the way it works, you have a huge army. And instead of tracking wounds on different separate Space Marines or whatnot, you're operating in larger units. It was also kinda working with simultaneous turns, because otherwise it would take forever to make turns, and it was using D12 dice, which is quite uncommon for Games Workshop games, as you know. So this is the last iteration of this Apocalypse. And some people online speculate that we might get a refresh anytime soon now, because the previous ones were released every 6 years, and guess what? 2025 is pretty much 6 years from 2019. So, you never know, maybe they will announce a new Apocalypse release. It had a separate rulebook, separate everything, and you can say this is a quite unusual kind of expansion. Looking at this part. From this box, you are supposed to get 30 Primaris Intercessors. And guess what? This is only a part of a battle line that you are supposed to have in this kind of format. The game could easily use 120, 150 Space Marines, and I'm not even talking about Imperial Guard and other armies that have smaller kind of units. This was really fun. Very popular among some Warhammer players. So let's take a look today at this box. What do we have here? We have a Primaris Captain, a fairly old sculpt. We have 30 Primaris Intercessors, basically 3 10-man squads. And we have 1 Redemptor Dreadnought. Heavy support. This box is a pretty good start for Apocalypse format. You just need to throw in some extra things, couple of vehicles, maybe some Reavers, Infiltrators, Terminators, you name it, and you get a fairly nice army. And if you combine it with other boxes like this Salamander's Warforged Strike Force, you could get immediately 50 Primaris Intercessors. Neat, right? Couple of words about this particular box. This is diabolically hard to get any Apocalypse times box online. They're very expensive and scarce, and it was really challenging to find one for the Space Marines. I have seen Necrons, I have seen Tyranids, and by the way, in this release wave there were 10 of them. There were Necrons, Tyranids, Tau, Imperial Guards, Chaos of course, Imperial Knights, Orcs, Eldari, Adeptus Mechanicus, and of course this Space Marine, so it's like 10 of them. And it is very rare by now, as I already mentioned. I got this box from a really nice gentleman from the UK, and this box is obviously opened, and it has been sitting on a shelf for quite a while, you can say, looking at the edges of the box. It has some shelf wear, but I have been told that this box is complete. Let's go ahead and see what's inside. And the box is packed with stuff. What do we have here? First of all, we have number of instruction sets. This is Primaris Captain. You can say it is old because there are some data sheets on this small instruction manual. We get Primaris Intercessors instruction manual, which is untouched. You can see it by the way I flip through it. Completely brand new. We get transfers. We get 3 transfers for the Ultramarines. Have 2 of them. I suspect there might have been more, but over the years they might have been used by the guy that I purchased it from, and there is a vehicle transfer sheet. This is for the Dreadnoughts. Normally, you would expect to see a smaller one for the Captain. This Captain, I believe, goes with a small transfer sheet too. I don't think we get it here. And the Redemptor Dreadnoughts. This is the very first Primaris-sized Dreadnought that was released. And we get some assembly instructions. Looks absolutely fantastic. I have built, I think, a couple of these Dreadnoughts, and they are incredibly cool. They are very, very, very cool. Really nice miniatures. Next, we get, this is a Dreadnought base. This is a 10 centimeter or 100 millimeters base for a Dreadnought. These are 3 packs of 32 millimeter bases for the Space Marines, for the Intercessors. And this looks to me as a base for the Captain. Looking good. What do we have next? I'm gonna move this aside so we can take a closer look at the sprues. We have a set of sprues for the Captain. This is our Captain sprue. Looking very, very nice. He has a lot of assembly options. 2 heads. Tons of weapons. Looking very, very nice. This is the second sprue. Looks actually quite small compared to modern Captains, especially the ones in Terminator armor that we already used to. Next we get parts of Dreadnoughts. This is the sprue with the weapons of a Dreadnought. And we get even multiple front parts of the sarcophagus. This is, of course, the plasma weapon. We have a flamer here, looking very, very nice. This is a second part of a Dreadnought. We can build the torso and the legs and whatnot from this part. They go in this kind of set. These sprues. They are obviously from 2017, as we can read here. So these are the very first molds that were used for Primaris Space Marines. This is a Primaris Dreadnoughts, the very first Primaris Dreadnoughts. Gonna put it here. And the rest, my friends, I'm kidding you not, we have a lot of Primaris Intercessors here. A lot of Primaris Intercessors. So let's take a look. This is the first sprue. This one builds you 5 of the lads. All of them are exactly the same. We have 6. We're supposed to have at least 6 sprues here. All of them are the same. These are the Primaris Intercessors that you can build from Primaris Intercessor kits. These are not easy to build Primaris Intercessors. By the way, this Dreadnought is also a fancy Dreadnought because there were easy to build Dreadnoughts with less options. And I'm not even sure they might have been push fits or something like that. This is a proper Dreadnought, so the one that you buy from a separate box. Same goes for these Primaris Intercessors. One of my favorite kits, very versatile and very, very nice for kit bashes. So you can build a lot of things from these pals. And of course from the sold alternative of them. But these are just the Intercessors. So this is the first one. We get the second one. This is the second one. It's exactly the same. These 2 sprues build you 5 Intercessors with a lot of spares. You can see that there are at least 10 heads, actually 12. And yeah, you are only limited by the number of torsos here. You can do a lot of fun things with these pals. Really, really, really nice. So this is 2. This is set number 3. 5 more Intercessors. This is set number 4. Set number 5. There we go. And this is set number 6. As we can see, this one got a bit damaged, so we see some empty spaces here, but all these parts are pretty much in the box. They just fell off the sprue. This is fairly normal. The box is quite old, and I'm pretty sure since this is an open box, the guy was checking it out, maybe multiple times. And yeah, this is the result of this kind of stuff. Over the years, you have some bits falling off. I'm actually quite surprised it's not a lot of them, and all of them are on one sprue. Anyways, it feels like it is complete. So my friends, what can I say? This is an absolutely fantastic box. Of course, right now, it does not make a lot of sense to purchase it for a lot of money on eBay, unless you are a collector like I am. This box contains nothing unique. You basically can buy all these parts separately, and the current price of the box is gonna include pretty much everything. When it was released, it was much cheaper. It was a fairly good deal. I don't know exact price, but it was definitely cheaper than purchasing all 5 kits that are in this box separately. I made a post yesterday about the unboxing, and somebody said that it is a lot of mold line to remove. I can't agree more. It is really a lot of mold line to remove. The only worst kit that I can imagine it would be new Deathwatch veterans from Kill Team Toon World. Those have really bizarre amount of mold line, but Primaris Intercessors, they're kinda manageable, so it's not gonna be that bad. What can I say? These formats sounds amazing, and yeah, you don't even have a table to play it. So when Games Workshop was advertising it, I think during the first edition of Apocalypse, they basically made a picture where people were playing it on the floor because of how many miniatures and the size of the miniatures that were involved. Keep in mind there are boxes for other factions. If you come across them, keep in mind, it might still be a good deal if you can get them for a reasonable amount of money, but the vast majority of them that I have seen online are pretty much too expensive for any saving. So this is basically a collectible kind of thing. I could not even find a sealed one for Space Marines, and that tells you something. There are, of course, boxes for other kinds of stuff. There are tanks, there are Land Raiders. I think there is a version of a Land Raider that basically has more weapons than the regular ones. The Necrons, of course, were utilizing lots of monoliths. The Tyrannies were running very large creatures. So this sounds like fun. This whole Apocalypse thing sounds like a lot of fun. And I guess this is gonna be it for today. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you played Apocalypse, if you got any fun products for Apocalypse. And moreover, if you expect to see Apocalypse anytime soon, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribe to the channel. We have way more stuff to open, build, and kit bash. Stay tuned for that. As always, check out the video that you see now on your screen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.